and here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Roger, roll, Atlantic. Throttling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect world.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation.
Liquidation.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my God.
Yikes, you bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Good early morning. You are taking a live look right now at Starbase, Texas, where finally, after many hours of waiting into this current road closure, we see the first V3 booster on its way out to Pad 2. New booster design, new launch pad. I think it's going to be a good morning. I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I will be your host for today's stream. As always, I am not alone. Joining me is an entire team on daylight saving time. Starting with Max Evans. How's it going, Max?
Good morning, everybody. Yes, indeed, daylight savings is here, and while my body says it's 3:34 a.m. local time here in Florida, it is actually 4:34 a.m. So, a very early morning, late night, whatever you want to call it, but these are peak Starlink hours as we have become used to, Sawyer. So, but yeah, a super heavy booster is heading back to the launch site for the first time in 6 months. It's a really big deal, and we are glad to be having coverage for it.
And for the first time, in fact, for this new launch pad too. Also joining us on commentary is Ryan Weber. How's it going?
Yeah, I am excited, Sawyer. Really excited. We get to see. I love these grid fins already. I got to be honest, the 3 grid fin layout has grown on me. I understand the design reason, and it has actually grown on me as part of it, especially with the integrated hot stage truss. With this getting to once it gets to the launch site, it'll be the first time in 147 days that there is a vehicle at the launch site. That is since Flight 11. So it's been a while. It's one of the longest routes in the program without a vehicle or test tank or something at the launch site. But, it's the start of a new era for the Starship program, and I cannot wait to see this thing be lifted. I can't wait to see it be tested, especially static fire testing. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
The one benefit to these streams being so late at night, you get Ryan Weber so delusional that he's optimistic about everything. We're a little bit on the unhinged side tonight, so this is going to be a fun stream. And helping to make it more fun is the producer today, pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, is Carson Phillips. So, as always, if you have your questions, you can tag us at NASASpaceflight or at NSF. We will do our best to answer as many of your questions as we can as we watch this beautiful vehicle make its way out to Pad 2 for some exciting testing to come. So I guess, the main thing I think we could talk about is the fact that we kind of got an idea of some of the testing they're going to be doing out there off of the tweets and stuff from today. So what are we expecting, Ryan, for this test campaign, at least out at Pad 2?
So we're basically expecting it's going to roll out, get placed on the pad. They'll do their initial fit checks, make sure the QDs line up correctly, make sure everything seals right. They'll probably do a pressure test with the high pressure systems, do a pre-press test, then go into some tanking tests. So basically just loading LOX and liquid methane on board the vehicle, just kind of making sure the tanks are good, making sure the pumps run well, and all those systems run just fine until they might do like a couple of those, like they do a quick load, and then they do like a half load, and then maybe even do a full load, or they go like a small load, then they go straight to a full load of the booster. We'll have to wait and see how much they load in it. And then my guess is they'll go to a spin prime and then a static fire. Based off of some of the images we've seen, trying to look through the transport stand, it does look like there's only the center 13 in here on this booster, because there are some areas through the transport stand where we can see light, and well, if the outer 20 existed, we wouldn't be able to see light through those areas. So we'll hopefully get some more up close looks here, but it seems like there's only the inner 13 on this one, which is nothing new. Booster 7, they initially tried to do all 33 at once. They tried to spin prime right off the bat. We all know how that went. Rip white hose, spin boom. They quickly moved away from that. They did only the outer 20. Then they went to install all 33 and worked up to a 33 engine static fire. This is going to be kind of the same way, but they're starting lower to begin with to kind of work up with a brand new pad, brand new tank farm, brand new booster, all new plumbing. There's a lot of kinks to work out in the system, and they want to make sure it all works fine. So I would expect this thing to roll back, then roll back out again for a full 33 engine. But right now, I would expect at least 2 weeks of testing for this thing. There's a lot of stuff they have to figure out.
I was just remembering the hose instantly. It's funny, I forget about the big boom, but I remember the hose. You know, the little details. But it's going to be interesting to see if they do end up testing all 13 of them out there now, if they only do smaller, get the basics done, roll it back, and then incrementally test from there. Because especially recently, we've seen them work their way up to that big 33 engine test rather than just going right to it. The other question, of course, then, is also the new launch pad itself, in terms of what it's currently able to handle. And Max Sixstring Simpleton is asking, what is left to do, if anything, on stage 0?
I mean, as far as we can tell, we've seen a pickup in last-minute testing over at the pad itself. We've seen some purging from both BQD or booster quick disconnect umbilicals, which are those two sort of bumps on top of the launch mount over there on the left-hand side of your screen. One for methane and one for oxygen. We've seen those purging. We've seen some movement of the chopsticks, and I believe we've seen some minor tank farm activity as well. Because we have yet to see or have a scenario where SpaceX has been able to flow cryo through any of the BQDs into a vehicle of any sort, at least at Pad 2, which is what they hope to find out first before they move into an actual engine testing here as well. But for the most part, I think for the first time ever, Pad 2 is basically ready to accept a vehicle for testing, which is really weird to say because the 6 months that have passed or so since Flight 11 has felt like both a really long time and also like last week, but also a period of months in Starbase is equivalent to years to really most everywhere else in the aerospace industry. And a lot has certainly changed since then. And first and foremost, I think over at Pad 1, the original launch mount is completely gone. And last time we were there, or at least those from the Space Coast were there, myself and Dee, Starbase looked nothing like it does now, especially over at Pad 2, which is the main focus and talking point for tonight with Booster 19. So basically the pad is essentially ready to go, but a majority of the actual testing to make sure that it's ready for testing beyond cryo can only happen once the booster is on top. So fingers crossed all goes well. But SpaceX is obviously confident enough to be rolling out the booster tonight and hopefully for a lift at some point in the near future in the next couple of days, if not later on today while we have daylight. So really curious to see what SpaceX has done with the engine section of Booster 19 here.
I was just thinking back to the days of the older Starbase updates when Jack was still hosting them, of how different everything looked over there, the slow progress on the launch mount. And then I remember when they brought out the big orange bags again for the testing, and then we had 17.1 out there.
Yep.
And the slap tests.
It is kind of nuts though. So from scratch, they didn't have to rebuild they didn't have to make the tower modules because they were the They were the tower modules that sat at Roberts Road for like a year and a half, 2 years. So that's the only thing they really didn't have to make out of this system. But they started the initial groundwork for the tower, for Pad 2's tower, in May of 2024. So in 22 months, it is now ready to accept a vehicle. The mount is ready to go. The tower has some more work. I don't know if the arm is fully connected there, and the ship side on the tank farm isn't fully hooked in yet. There's 2 pipes that are still disconnected because they're still finishing off stuff. I think conduit stuff with the ship QD arm, and then of course it's going to get a new rooftop, which is being built, and then the really large, really tall LR11000 will lift that into place and install it, and that's kind of all that's left. I think there's some odds and ends here and there, but most of it is basically finished on this pad. It should definitely be ready for a launch come April, assuming that's when it launches. There's some other stuff I've seen recently that kind of hint that it could be a little bit longer before they launch, because it depends on what kind of test tank testing they want to do. But there might be more testing that delays this launch even longer than April, maybe into May.
But even with what you were just saying, Ryan, with the SQD, both the actual arm itself and also the tank farm, they can't test that until a ship is ready for a full stack, and the pad is not ready for that yet, nor is the booster obviously yet as well.
They can test a lot of it. So what they can do is they can flow liquid methane through the system. They can flow liquid oxygen through the system. They just can't flow it into a vehicle. So They can do a lot of pressure testing. They can do a lot of temperature checks. I would expect at some point, I don't know when, but at some point we will see the new tower vent activate when they're ready to test that. Because we have seen cryo flow out of the bunker, the side GSE bunker, because now everything's stuck on that bunker on the side. We've seen that at least twice. So they flowed cryo through that, but they haven't floated words. It's late. Up to the QD itself. We know they've done cold gas though, and they've done purges on that. But I can't wait to see them actually put a ship on and load it. They can learn a lot just by running the pumps and filling things, but there really is a lot to learn when you get a vehicle on there actually communicating with the pad itself.
Yep.
Also, you should have stopped while you were ahead there. Mid-April, yay! Not delaying May, but
yeah,
I mean,
April would be nice. Although, as long as it does not conflict with a big orange rocket that will hopefully be flying from here, in April. But we'll see.
From Florida, yeah, not
from
Starbase.
Florida. Yes, correct.
Which it would be cool if it was on the anniversary of it was Flight 1, right? That was on April 20th.
That would be kind of funny, not going to lie. That would be kind of funny.
V1 and V3 both debut on the funny number date. So, we'll see. Time will tell. And again, most importantly is going to be how this testing campaign goes, too. Once it gets out there, what they're able to do this time, if there's any issues. Because, when it comes to spaceflight, let's be honest, one of the most complicated things isn't so much the rocket itself, it's the ground support equipment, the GSE. That has been the bane of many rockets' existences over time. And especially when you're talking about something brand new that has not been flown before, that has not accepted a rocket ever before, there is bound to be some issues that pop up. So we'll see what they do.
Delta 4.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but that was the rocket.
Looking at you, Delta 4.
And honestly, Atlas 2 was same thing.
It's been okay in recent years. I think 41 is the more robust pad of the two, but Delta was always very problematic and temperamental.
That is true. Also, Atlas launched more than the Delta family on average, for sure. And fun fact, 37, where it launched from, now is completely flat and leveled and has some tower pieces there ready for SpaceX and Starship at the Cape. Which we will be talking about that in the upcoming Starship update, but they have since rolled out a number of tower segments to the Space Launch Complex 37 area over at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station for the eventual Starship launch and catch facilities over there. So more to talk about there in due time.
But in the meantime, Booster 19 looks to have stopped again in between Megabay 1 and Megabay 2.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. This isn't one of the normal kind of slow down stop points. Ryan, any ideas
Well,
what be happening?
usually if there's a stop point and it's usually right before closure starts and they're getting ready to go, they stop right before the parking garage. Where they're stopped right now kind of blocks a large section of Remedios, which is kind of not like a great spot to stop. I wonder if they're taking pictures with drones or something, or I don't know what.
The drone is up there. You can actually see it flashing there, but next to the red lights by Megabay 2. So maybe, but
maybe they're just taking pictures and then they're going to move it again.
It's next to the mural.
Yep, maybe. Yeah,
it's an odd place for it to stop. This isn't a normal stop point.
There it goes. It's zooming away now.
Got to get the angles.
Yeah, it's doing the wide shots. You can see it's going way out. It's doing a wide shot.
Yeah, it's going over by New Gigabay.
Just wait for the morning post from SpaceX saying, "Hi, it rolled to the launch site." You're gonna get shots or video like this.
And then just wait for the sun to come up, and then Caesar, Colleen, and Gage out there can get the best photos that they possibly can of all the details on it, because this is the first time that we are seeing it with grid fins attached, and also with any engines attached as well, whether it be the inner 13 or all 33. Even though we are currently led to believe it is the inner 13. But I don't think we will know that for sure until we have like a better angle, either a better angle to look into the transport stand, or once they actually lift it to put it on the launch mount. But that will hopefully come in due time.
Yeah. We'll see when that ends up happening, but when it does, I guarantee you the pictures are going to be awesome. We will have them all over the NSF social channels. So if you're not following us, X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, we're there. You'll get to see some awesome photos and videos from the team. And it's I can't wait for it to actually be on Pad 2, ready for testing.
It's been a long time coming.
It really has been. Which, along those lines, you mentioned that we now have the grid fins finally attached as well. And I saw someone asking, I know, Ryan, you said you actually didn't dislike the 3 grid fin design, but Ty Avo's asking, what's the reason for the 3 grid fins?
Well, the reason for the 3 grid fins is because of the reentry profile for the booster. So the booster is going to reenter and glide back at a higher angle of attack. And with the higher angle of attack, only these 3 grid fins would be in the airflow. If you were to put another one, 90 degrees off from the other 2 on the other side, so you basically have a plus sign. The other one would basically be out of the airflow and be more or less useless. With the way this is gliding back in, you're the one that sticks out on the side, basically, that's 90 degrees off from the other 2. That one is going to act as a rudder, basically. So you'll be able to it'll act like a rudder and control it. Be able to control like pitch, yaw, and roll very well with these 3. And there's no need to have a 4th one because it's just a waste of mass. And it's one less grid fin means less mass. Although all 3 of these grid fins are 50% larger than the ones that are over on Booster 12 that is sitting over in the Rocket Garden, and which was the old design. So 50% larger, and you're missing one. You're not really lowering the mass as a whole right there. And not only that, the grid fin sockets add more mass, plus whatever structure is needed inside the tank in order to help support it and everything like that. So they likely added more mass in the long run, but it is less complication because there's 3 grid fins instead of 4. So in the long run, it'll probably give them more control, and it's a less complicated vehicle overall.
The SpaceX saying, the best part is no part. So why not get rid of it? And those now actually will have the structural support assistance when they come in eventually for that first booster catch, with them also now being the catch mechanism built into that, which is really cool. Martin Deutschev with a good question here. saying, how are they aligning the booster on pad 2 with no alignment pins? Which one of you wants to take that one?
I can.
Go for it.
They don't need the alignment pins anymore because of the new way that the clamp system and whatnot works. So there are 20 separate ball sockets, basically, that are on the aft section of this booster, along with 20 separate sockets for the clamps. The 20 ball sockets basically allow the booster to sit down on 20 separate ball joints and it'll more or less align itself. They just need the booster in almost correctly the right orientation. It should sit down and align itself, and then the clamps lock in to the open sockets, and boom, it's in. The old system, you had to use two stabilizers to hold the booster in place so you could line up these really flat and long like clamps that kind of went right onto the lip of the aft of the booster. And that needed to be just right because you also needed to have it perfectly aligned because you have the Raptor Boost QDs, or the outer 20 QDs, which those don't exist anymore either. Everything is now done through the two main QDs, one LOX, one methane. So the engine startup, igniters, all that other stuff is now done, and engine chill routing is all done through the QDs now. All of that is routed through the manifolds that are on the outside of the bottom of the aft there, because all of it's exposed now, and through like hardened conduit and everything. So the aft has been completely redone so that they don't have the stabilizer issues. They don't have the issues they had with the Raptor QDs or anything like that. It's much more simple. Simplified because it's a lot of it's vehicle side now rather than pad side. They made that compromise because they had so many issues with pad 1.
Yeah, by the way, that sounds like me, where it's got the slightly loose ball and socket joint in my hip, and then you just sit down, it just goes into place. Sounds about right. I can relate to this booster.
Oh, jeez.
Are they?
It's late.
Waiting
Go
for
ahead,
the
Ryan.
closure are they waiting for the closure to end? Are
I
they
hope
rolling?
not.
I swear. The closure ends in 5 minutes. By the way, closure ends at 4 a.m.
And as far as we know, we haven't seen any note of an extension.
But SpaceX also doesn't care about closures.
Right.
We
There
know
is
this.
also, it's worth noting, the closure that goes until 6 a.m., but that one is for Masseys to the production site. So that is Ship 39, which is also supposed to roll back sometime tonight around the same window. So
Yeah, I kind of doubt that at this point.
yeah. I mean, it's SpaceX. That's all we need to say. It's SpaceX.
Well, it was
It's
also
just-
it was the booster itself was hanging outside of Gigabay 1 for a long time, and there was crews all up and around it, both on the transport stand itself, around the BQD mounting plates, and then also some people up in some lifts around where a fourth grid fin would be on the other side. But I think that's a vent area now over there as well. It's been up and down all over the booster, and the window opened at midnight local. So, interesting to see what took them so long and why it sat outside for so long. But again, this is far from the first time that's happened. And also worth noting that on the left-hand side of your screen, Ship 39 is also still completely in place and has not moved an inch since since the roll closure opened for that as well. So it's a bit of a game of waiting now.
What's odd is the police is there. It's literally, they're at the entrance to Remedios. The police and security there. The light trucks are there. The booster's ready to go. And SpaceX, roll the booster. Come on.
Roll it.
Everything's there. Just roll it. Go.
Roll the intro. Oh, wait, wrong show.
Oh, jeez.
Roll the booster, SpaceX. Come on. We all want to see it at the launch site. We want to see it up close. Roll the booster. Let's go. Chop, chop.
I'm just
Pitter
going to
patter.
say,
Let's get at her.
I'm wondering out loud if when they originally put the update out there, they forgot that the clocks would change time. So I wonder if they put 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., thinking it was a 4-hour window, and then the clocks changed, and now they're going, oh crud, we actually meant 5 a.m. because it gives us the full 4 hours. Just thinking out loud.
The one thing that, well, it was kind of odd, and I guess they did it because they wanted to have access to lifts and have access to full boosters. They looked at the autogen. They looked at every single autogen line bracket. So when the booster was sitting out in the ring yard, the lifts were looking at all the brackets for the autonomous repressurization lines that help pressurize the tanks, both the LOX one and the methane one, because now there are singular pipes for each tank. One's on one side, one's on the other. And then they also were taping over the QDs, taking a look at the QDs. They hooked up power and data to both QDs. And then they kind of consolidated and hooked up a bunch of testing hardware as well. That is likely going to be used for this entire test campaign. And I don't know why they decided to do all that as it came out. I don't know if they had any clamp issues or anything. But it's kind of odd to do that much work on the booster as soon as it leaves, but maybe they just wanted the room to do it on. But, you know, and for those of you wondering too, when you saw the booster come out of the Gigabay and why it took so long, took like an hour for him to get it out, is because the grid, is it rolling? It is rolling. Hey, there we go, it's rolling.
Yeah, it's moving.
The grid fins are... But as I said before, those grid fins are about 50% bigger on the top of that booster. And as a result of that, in the orientation that they are, SpaceX cannot roll the booster out of the Gigabay in like... They have to do it in a weird like 45-degree off like rotation is basically what they have to do. So it's kind of walky. And if anyone was watching the booster in like a time lapse, you would see it like move back and forth, kind of like bounce, as they were trying to get the booster out of the bay without smacking the grid fins into the side of the Gigabay. And it reminds me of the clip from Friends: pivot, pivot, pivot.
Oh my God.
You know, kind of like trying to
shut up!
Pivot.
Someone's got to make a gif out of that.
And then, basically, so they kind of have to like rock the booster, get it out there. It's a giant pain, but it'll only have to be with Gigabay. Once Gigabay's operational, those doors are much bigger, and it won't have any issues there. I know people are probably asking, why don't they just cut holes in the side of the Gigabay door where the grid fins are? Well, then they can't close the door. So, not that the door does a lot. All it does is keep the wind out and our prying eyes, unfortunately. But, you know, yeah.
So I guess the real question then is, was SpaceX on a break?
What? Is that
It's another
joke?
It's a reference to Friends.
Oh, I never actually watched Friends. I just know the pivot joke. I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean,
Wow.
everybody knows the pivot joke. Everyone knows it.
Do they?
I mean, I've never watched it in my life yet. I know what that is.
thought you would have gotten it because you watched it. I didn't, you know.
And that's also one of those same ones where it's like, we were on a break. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to disappoint you both.
That's fine.
At least it's not as bad as like back when Trevor or Adrian would be on, or Adrian with some certain movies,
Yeah.
or Trevor
no.
on here and he didn't know literally anything.
Yeah.
I do miss Trevor, but dear Lord, man, I don't think he watched ever a movie. I don't think he ever watched anything.
Look at this.
Oh, I love that.
You see it rocking there a little bit?
I mean, we saw SLS do that too, so.
I mean, yeah, but there's a whole. It's attached to an entire mobile launcher, not a relatively small transport stand across some SPMTs.
Well, let's.
I
know
that's just I know that's just the road being a bit uneven where it's going over. I know that, but still kind of alarming to see a structure that big kind of swaying like that. But look at this. This is the best view we've had so far of all three grid fins. Look at that.
Those grid fins look awesome. Like seriously, those
It's
things
also-
are huge.
It's a lot to get used to, especially compared to the version 1 and version 2 boosters where they were all four. They weren't evenly spaced like they are on Falcon 9 at 90-degree intervals. They were at I think they were, oh goodness gracious,
60 was it?
I think it was 60 on the smaller end, and then what was it? Oh gosh,
I
like
think
100
it was 60, 60, 100, 120. I think.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I could be off. But
It's
been a
something
while
like
since
that, yeah. But they were not evenly spaced on either side of the booster, so it was nice because that was symmetric. But this is not symmetric whatsoever. But still,
Well, it is kinda.
Well,
It's a
yes.
T.
If you ignore the entire back of the rocket, yes, it's
Right.
symmetrical.
Yeah, true. But
Oh, there it goes again, passing through right near the new Gigabay. All of the construction there on its way out to Pad 2. Really
yeah,
quick,
so
let me
you
thank.
can. Oh, sorry.
I was just thanks to people real quick. Then go ahead, Ryan. RC Horseman,
Okay.
thank you for gifting me 20 Red Team memberships, and Flippers from over at McGregor Live, thank you for gifting 10 Red Team memberships as well. If you got one of those gifted memberships, definitely make sure to give them a big old thank you. And I'm sure there'll be some member photos that'll be coming out, even to our Red Team members from the rollout and from Lift once that happens. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna say you can tell how tall Gigabay is now. It's now 80 meters.
Yep.
It's 70 meters tall now, basically. It's getting up to where it needs to go. Actually, it should be 80 meters tall right now. So it's perspective, and I think is what it is what's throwing it off, because the booster should be a decent amount shorter than the Gigabay itself. But basically, you can see how the booster will fit in it, and that's only the 4th level. There's like another level and a half to go. I think the bay by the end of it is going to be 15 meters taller than the bays next to it. It's supposed to be 115 meters tall total, and the bridge cranes will be at 100 meters high. So you're going to have a lot more leeway with building boosters, and the doors are much bigger, and it's just going to be better all around once it's all said and done. But they got a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, that is true. They definitely still have some work to go. But
It is such a weird sight. Look at that. The way it's like peering through all the beams there.
I'm
almost
watching
ominous.
you.
A lot of steel.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of steel.
Yeah.
And this isn't going to be of course, they're building another one at Roberts Road, and these aren't the only two they're going to be building. With how much they want to launch, they need to build like I don't know, like 8 of them. I'm not even kidding.
I believe the one here may have just topped out at its maximum height. I was looking at it driving in on a center today, and I think it looked like
It's at 100 meters.
Is it? Okay.
It's at 100 meters. It still needs the penthouse / roof level.
Okay. I think that's what I'm seeing then. Okay, but I think it's a lot more uniform in terms of where it is height wise right now, but it's also receiving some cladding around the exterior of it as well. So it looks a lot more done is the wrong word, but it looks like it's had a lot more progress than the one we are currently seeing in Starbase. But the one in Starbase will probably be in full use first, whereas the one here in Florida will likely be just used for storage and inspection before they get Star Factory 2.0 up and running here.
And don't forget, Julie Bergeron, who's at the Cape, by the way, has been doing the Battle of the Bays over on X, comparing the two of them and their progress to see which one gets higher and built faster. So you should go check that out, Julie Bergeron over on X.
Should be able to see what engines are in here shortly. We should be able to peer in. But just a side note on the Gigabay there, when you go by it, Max, the west side of the bay, some of the columns that are closest to the transfer, that are around the transfer aisle, really it's just that west side. Some of those have bridge crane posts, so they're little tabs for the bridge crane rail to set on, and that should be for the 400-ton bridge cranes that are going to run along the transfer aisle.
Got it. Yeah.
So the thinking is there's going to be two 400-ton bridge cranes per transfer aisle, which should have access to all the bays in each side. So all 12 bays on each side for both of them. So they can basically pick a vehicle out from one bay and set it to any of the other bays that could fit. So it's gonna be kind of cool. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because again, our views from over at the KSC press site are looking at the eastern side, and the shots that Julia gets from over in Titusville are looking at that western side, so we can kind of get that full scope of what's going on with it.
Can we
And
just
my
admire
gosh.
how clean this booster looks now?
Oh,
Like,
man,
I know
it is clean.
version 2 was certainly getting there as well.
just those weld lines on
Oh
the,
my word.
on
So-
the
Yeah.
different sections.
Yeah, you can see how there's only a single LOX pressurization inlet. That's right there, right at the bottom, right below the common dome there. It's one line that goes in, and then the other side of the booster, all the way up to the top, is the methane autogen line. So on Block 2 booster, they had multiple lines going up for both tanks. Basically, now they only have a singular line because what they've done is they've taken all the autogen gas comes off to the manifold that's at the aft of it, and then just gets routed into the single pipe. So it's much more efficient.
And now we can
Alright, the
also
moment
take a
of
look.
truth.
Yep, I was about to say we can take a look inside the transport stand there and see if we can see what ring of engines are installed. Because we've been able to see there are engines in there, but just based off of what we've been able to see looking through it, it seems like it's not the entire 33. So as we
Really?
look, let's...
Oh,
go
there's
ahead, Matt.
definitely not 33 in there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
And then once this bad boy passes right in front of the camera, we should take a moment and just enjoy the sounds of the SPMTs, because those, I don't know, they're still exciting and cool to listen to. As we also zoom in.
Oh my
look at
goodness.
that.
Oh my goodness.
Well, wait.
Sorry, couldn't contain myself there.
I'm trying to see. That looks center only, I think.
Yeah,
There's more
you can
around
see
it, though, is there not?
the gimbling
Yeah.
struts there.
That's definitely an engine. It's got engines.
Oh my god.
Not more around
Look
it?
at-
Is it just...
Look at how clean it looks.
Oh,
Right.
This is our
Raptor
first look
V3s.
at Raptor 3 engines on a flight article.
Yeah, there's the TVC
Yep.
actuators
Yup.
for them.
I don't see anything else in there right now. Oh, nope, there's another one.
Maybe there are some outers.
You know,
That looks
yeah.
like an outer.
No,
almost.
yeah, there are
There
some
for sure
outers.
is. There for sure
Yeah.
is.
That's definitely an outer.
There's not 33 in here. I can tell you that much. But there's definitely, I think there's an outer. I'm trying to see where the connection points are. See, that's an empty connection point
Yep.
right there. That's
Right
an empty
there, yeah.
inner connection point, by the way. Wow. Yeah, that's an
In-
empty E2.
Okay.
E2.
E6 right there, I think.
I
I
saw
was hoping for serial numbers.
E1.
Look at that shielding. That's a complete
yeah.
center. That's a complete
That's
inner
E1.
engine.
Says it on it.
Dude.
How many engines are on this thing? Because I don't think there's that many.
It doesn't look that way, does it?
It looks like
We've seen
it looks
one,
like
two,
there
and
are
five.
it looks like there are some outers and some inner ones, but it doesn't look like there's like a full 13 centers.
Caesar, you are an absolute legend for this camera view, dude. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes, Caesar out in the field providing this particular view. We also have Gage out there providing views as well for our live stream, and then,
Holy.
of course, the whole team out there gathering all of the juicy media here.
Oh, this is juicy. Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm sorry for being quiet. Trying to look. Is that a 50 something on one of them there?
So that's E4.
Yeah, that was E4.
Engine position 4.
I saw 5 in there as well.
Yep.
We've seen 1 and 2.
Dude, this is nuts.
Yeah, this looks. I was
that a 9
hoping
that I
for
saw?
like engine serial numbers, not engine position numbers. but
I
Yeah,
did think I
there's
saw an
E2.
E9 there.
Or what? Was that 12 or 2? I couldn't tell.
I saw 2 earlier, so that might be a 12.
So it looks like, yeah, it definitely looks like they've got some outer engines and some inner engines. So they've got a combination.
There's
Probably
3.
to test the different plumbing on it. We don't know how many total. It's possible there's only 13. It's possible there's 20. But there's certainly not 33 in there. It's certainly not a full set, but it's definitely a combination of an outer ring of 20 and some of the inner 13s.
Which I have to say is kind of surprising. I think, if anything, at least in my mind, I would have figured that they would have rolled out with either just the inner ring of 13 or rings of 13, or all 33, and not a mixture of both. But that's honestly kind of surprising.
By the way, some people in chat doing some of the numbers. They caught a 351, and I think I saw 376.
Well, they don't have that high of numbers.
Unless it's just for Raptor 3 number 51 and 76.
Okay,
goodness.
I think there's I think one of us is SN39, which that's an old Raptor 3. That is a relatively old Raptor 3. I'll tell you that much. I think one of them is an SN39.
Well, the 35 might have been possible then.
Yeah, there are some old engines. There's some old Raptor 3 engines on this buddy, the sucker. But you know, they're going to use what they want to use.
Any reason why they might be doing that as opposed to using some of the newer, slightly more tested ones, or is this kind of just, hey,
well,
this is our first foray out into testing this thing out of Pad 2. Let's use what we got.
It might be a case of using what they got and what's available for flight engines. It might be that these were already selected a long time ago to be on this flight. I know that over the course of the serial numbers of Raptor 3s, they have made some minor changes here and there to some of the valve areas. I think in some of the turbopump areas. I don't remember it. There's a couple of people I'd have to ask on that one to verify that. But it's kind of... Oh! Look at that! Look at that! Hey, Caesar, I don't know if you can zoom into the bottom of the stand. You can see the engine bells hanging out the bottom of the stand.
Whoa! Oh my God, you can!
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The engine bells are hanging out the bottom of that stand. Yeah.
Dude, this thing is going to look so weird once they actually lift it off the stand to put it on the launch mount. It's going to look so foreign compared to what we're used to, especially with version 1 and version 2 and all other rockets that we've seen.
Oh, yeah, there it is. There's
Look at that.
Some of the bells.
I got engine bells hanging out the bottom of the stand. I literally just got a ping from Ryan Hansen Space telling me that there's engines hanging out the bottom of the stand, and that's what a shout out to him. He literally just pinged me for that, and I looked and went, "Oh yeah, there is."
Dude, that is remarkable.
Look at that.
I didn't see that. We were so focused on looking through the transport stand, we didn't look below the transport stand.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we were trying to see engine serial numbers and how many there were. I guess we could also technically see as it goes by how many engine bells we could see hanging down below.
I mean, theoretically, we shouldn't have to wait much longer. Just wait till it gets to the launch site, and then when they lift it up, hopefully later on today, if all goes well. But definitely this week, if they want to maintain a good timeline for testing and getting it ready for flight. And I hope, like, the imagery that we're going to get of it during lift, especially of the engine section, is going to be incredible.
Yeah. But of course, we all want to speculate now. We don't want to wait. We want to see what there is now.
I know. Good things come to those who wait, I guess, though.
And in terms of the reason we think they'd be doing testing sooner than later, especially possibly as soon as tomorrow, is because we have road closures already set up for testing, right?
We do. Well, road and also beach closures as well. Monday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. local, and then also 2 backup windows on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we don't believe that they're going right into static fire testing, as Ryan talked about earlier. Likely going to do a series of tanking tests to ensure that the BQDs are aligned and there's no leaks, and that everything is happy within those systems and also with the vehicle itself. The actual static fire testing is probably at least a week away, if I had to guess. But yeah, that's currently what's on the docket right now,
Hey.
which is yeah.
But breaking news: S39 is making a run for it.
Oh no!
Of course.
But you know,
of course it is.
Yeah, either way,
it's making a run for it.
It's making a run for it. It's coming back to the production site now that its other half has left for the launch site. It's coming back now.
Oh, wait for me, guys! Wait for me!
Don't forget about me.
It's a 2.5-3 hour roll. It'll get back to the production site at some point, but yeah, there's S39. SpaceX and rolling inside of road closure windows. Name a more iconic duo.
Yeah, challenge impossible.
Right.
I mean, technically, Ship 39 is so.
Yeah, but it will still be rolling probably past the 6 a.m. end of said window. But yeah, that's about right. But we're not going to get like a old classic Western standoff. This town ain't big enough for the both of us with them, right? It's kind of just, we'll see the booster make it to Pad 2 first, and then at that point, Ship 39 will be on its way back over to the production site. As cool as that would be. Let's see here. Catching up now on all the questions here, because we were a little busy just gawking at engines for a bit. And a lot of people are asking, why would they not just have all 33 engines on there now? Why? I guess we originally thought 13, but why have them so scattered where we could visibly see engines and visibly see spots where engines should be, especially if they want to get into that static fire type campaign?
Well,
Ryan, go for it.
Or unless Max wants to take it. But basically it's to test all the systems with what you've got. So the booster's been back from cryo for a month, and they've only installed 10 engines. Now, we don't know exactly when they started installing these engines, if it was right when it got back or a couple weeks after it got back. This is also the first time ever installing Raptor 3 engines on a booster. The connections are a little bit different than Raptor 2. The shielding's a little bit different. The entire aft of the booster is different compared to the older generation of boosters. So they probably are taking their time and figuring out the correct procedures and how to install these, do it in a quick, safe, and efficient manner. So they may not install them all right away. And heck, all right, you've got a few. It looks like it's got all the center. It's got the center 3 engines. It's got a few in the inner ring of 13. It's got a few in the outer ring of 20. So basically, they can test all forms of the new plumbing that's inside the booster. They're not risking as many engines, although I don't really know if that's really that much of a concern for them. I think it's more of, okay, we've got these installed. They're in. Why don't we get the booster out? Let's commission the pad. Let's tank test. Let's do some initial static fire testing, spin prime testing. Let's flow prop through these engines, because while they've tested Raptor 3s a boatload at McGregor, they have never tested them on a vehicle, and on a vehicle is entirely different from a test stand, especially when you have multiple engines together. Over at McGregor, they've got one in a cell. That's it, and it's by itself, hooked up to a whole system. While, yes, they kind of have the mounting relatively the same, it's not the same as having 2 engines next to each other or multiple engines next to each other in order to test them. So this allows them to do that without installing all 33, without taking the time to do it. So they get a bunch of data. Maybe they find out the connections need to be changed, some things need to be fixed here and there during this testing campaign, and when they go to install the rest of the engines, they can make those modifications. They can do all that, get all 33 on, then do that 33 engine static fire with all the lessons that they've learned from doing smaller engine amounts. Make sure it works, do it the right way, do it the safe way, because SpaceX cannot afford to lose this flight. They can't. This is vital to, especially with the timetable moved up for Artemis 3. They need to get this thing flying if they want to make HLS happen in time. And while yes, it's really cool to see the engine bills sticking out below. But while yes, it may be an issue, like they're taking a lot of time. it's also a good thing to take the time and do it right. So that's kind of why they're doing it. In a long-winded way.
Yeah, version 3 is even more critical than version 2 to the program. I know we were talking about how important that was, but now this is make or break. By the way, I do want to point out that other view that we had, the wide, you could see the booster doing its best Falcon 9 Vandenberg impression with the fog trying to hide. Which there is a Starlink launch from Vandenberg scheduled for an hour and 38 minutes from now. So,
whatever.
Wow. I mean, yeah, West Coasts are kind of your ordinary Starlink. The East Coast ones are all not your ordinary Starlink, that's for sure.
God.
Oh, come on, Max. Also, by the way, Shazbert pointing out that you did say the thing with the $10 super chat. He said the thing.
What thing? Oh, right. I did, didn't I?
Yes.
I was like, what thing? Because there's like multiple things. I was a little confused.
Yep, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yes. I see you shiver with Antissa.
Okay, copy that.
10-4.
Oh my God, Ryan.
10-4.
I just...
solid copy.
Yeah, solid copy.
Don't mind me. Just dying.
You guys actually just killed Sawyer. What did you do? You guys actually just...
Thanks, chat.
Oh my God.
And we'll blame Jake Keegan. It's fine. Anyway.
I just want Jake Keegan to pop in here and go, what? But we'll see if that ever happens.
He did in the back channel.
Oh, Sawyer, you sound hurt. You sound like you're suffering over there.
I am. Oh, goodness. I thought I just had it under control, Max.
Jake Keegan here catching strays and yelling at us in the back channel. There you go.
Okay. We're good now. Kind of.
You okay over there?
I'm sorry to be
No,
laughing
I'm
at
not.
I'm sorry to be laughing at your misery, Sawyer, but the timing there was just perfect.
It's 5:30 a.m. Eastern time. You're allowed to. It's fine.
Fair. Yes.
This is not your ordinary coughing attack, okay? Anyway, Telstar 86 saying,
Jesus.
Seeing the grid fins makes me want waffles. Yes, it really does. Thanks. Now I'm hungry. Appreciate it.
It does sound good.
I do. Dang
Have
it, I
French
want
toast
waffles
sticks.
too. Son of a...
I don't have waffles. I have French toast sticks. So I may have to have those after for breakfast because it will be breakfast time by the time this thing is done.
Basically.
Let's see here. Getting back to questions so I can try and breathe again. While we're talking about the engines, Chalco Froglight is asking, what are the differences in engine layout for Block 3 boosters? Is it still kind of the same ring layout that we're used to seeing from Block 2?
So as far as we can tell, the actual engine positioning around in the ring structure is the same as we have become used to with version 1 and version 2. But I believe the inner 2 rings, so the 3 most inner engines and then the outer ring of 10 outside of that, sort of poke down farther than the outer ring of 20 to help with the bow shock or the shock wave with the booster coming back through the atmosphere to help propagate that shock wave away from the engine section as a whole. Other than that, in terms in terms of engine layout, I believe it's the same. Of course, there's obviously going to be some minor changes here and there. Maybe the inner 3 have been rotated a bit, so it's a bit, I don't know. But for the most part, with the exception of the 13 inner engines being, I guess, farther down, I guess you could say, than before, it's about the same.
The outer 20 did not change at all. The inner ring of 10 got rotated slightly because of the orientation of the booster relative to the flame deflector. So they rotated that engine setup so that not one engine would be hitting the ridge cap right on the top of the ridge cap of the flame deflector. And then also to do that, the inner 3 are also moved The inner three are not equidistant now. They're not a equilateral triangle. They are 108 degrees by 108 degrees by 144 degrees, clocking distance degrees radial apart from each other. So it's they clocked it differently, and a part of that has to deal with as well to not have a single engine with its exhaust plume pushing straight down onto the top of the ridge cap. All of it basically splits the ridge cap in half, one way or the other. So it'll help with the longevity of the ridge cap plus the flame deflector system. And I think it also kind of helps a little. It doesn't really do a lot on the landing burn or not because Block 3 booster is not using only the center 3 for landing. It's a 5-engine landing burn to start, and then it down selects to 3 at the end of it all. So yeah, but it's mainly to help with longevity of the water deluge systems at the pad. So Block 3 is clocked a little bit differently.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. The landing burn will still begin with all 13 inners and then down to 5 and then down to 3, which is what we saw demonstrated by the booster on Flight 11. I think was the case there to just, I guess, show that was possible. But then as we've just covered, the engine layout is a little bit different than as it is now. And with this booster setup and with the thanks to B-18 sneezing its guts out, I'm going to call it that every time. We have a fantastic understanding of the plumbing inside the aft of that booster that we wouldn't have had if that hadn't happened. So, same thing happened with S-36. We found out a lot of things about ship that we didn't know after we found parts just sitting around. But one thing that booster can do is it has a remarkable ability to compensate for engine outs. So if any one of those center 3 have an issue, any one of the outer 13 can compensate. So it basically has a 13 engine or I should say a 10 engine redundancy on the landing burn, because if any one of those center 3 doesn't work, you can the closest inner ring of 10, you can just turn that one on without having too much of a thrust differential. So it gives the booster an incredible ability to have a safe landing because of that. Ship still only has 3, so there is that. But booster, basically, in order for booster to have a landing burn issue, you have to have many engines fail for it to not land, or it would have to have like a grid fin problem or some kind of software glitch in order for it to fail. But engine-wise, it has an incredible redundancy in that regard.
Or as we saw in one of the flights, a tower problem too.
Yeah, which shouldn't really happen as much anymore. They've kind of fixed a lot of those tower issues. So
I think that was a kind of a one-time issue before they realized, okay, that probably wasn't a good setup anyway. But
yeah, that is true. And again, we're talking the first flight on a new pad, and it's worth noting they are not planning on catching the booster on this particular flight. This is just testing out the whole brand new design of V3 everything. When are we expecting them, Max, to actually start catching boosters and then also catching ships?
So regarding ships, Elon has said publicly on Twitter that assuming Flight 12 and 13 go well in terms of accuracy and performance of the ship itself throughout reentry and landing, the first possible landing or catch attempt of a ship from orbit could be as early as Flight 14. That's a big if, though, again, assuming the results of Flight 12 and 13 are positive enough to give the go-ahead for, I believe, Ship 41 that will hopefully be for that attempt. For the booster, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong or help me out here. I think a booster catch for Flight 12 is a bit out of the equation in the event that something goes wrong and they end up nuking the pad, similar to what they tried to avoid during the flight, the time between Flight 4 and Flight 7. But I think a booster catch for Flight 13 is could be for sure on the table, but I'm a bit unsure about Flight 12, just given how new the vehicle is.
I am 99% certain they aren't catching this booster.
Yeah.
There's also a brand new landing profile they have to test because of how they have to land at Pad 2 compared to Pad 1.
They have to fly over Pad 1, basically, which is kind of spooky.
No. I'll get into a minute about what their flight path is going to be here. But I would say that if this flight goes well and they nail their landing burn and the maneuver and everything like that, I would not be surprised if they go to catch 20. Now, as for the landing burn for this booster, so they are not coming right over Pad 1 because they can't come directly back to the pad. Why is that? Well, because the orientation of the pad. They cannot they are not going to catch, and they very likely can't try to catch this booster with the chopsticks off to the side. That would be putting more load on one actuator than the other because one would be extended, one would be retracted, and that really isn't a great way to do it. That's not great for the longevity of the actuators or anything like that. Plus, it's not really a great location because if you're doing it off to the side, what's the point of the top deck deluge to fire off anyways? It's not going to do anything. Granted, the exhaust for that shouldn't do much, but the tower is set up to be caught lined up with the sticks even. So what it's going to have to do is the booster's going to have to target off to the south. So in the new expansion area is where they'll have to target. So if it fails and it can't land, it'll slam into the new expansion area. So, that's fun. What it'll have to do is it'll have to come down, cancel out its velocity entirely, and then dogleg itself over to the pad. So it'll come down, hover, then dogleg and kind of hover over into the sticks and get caught.
So it's going to walk itself over, basically.
Yep. That's what
insane.
it has to do. Because it's how the pad is set up. It's how, and it's a funk because of the way they built Pad 2, and they could only build it that way because of the land they had available. It's due to space requirements. At LC-39A and the two pads at Slick 37, they won't have to do this. They are orienting those pads in the correct direction, so this won't have to happen. And when Pad 1 is back online, they won't have to do this either. But while they have Pad 2, they're going to have to do this with the booster. My guess, and this is my guess, later down the line, once Pad 1's back online, all booster catches will go to Pad 1, all ship catches will go to Pad 2. I think that's the situation we'll have to deal with at Starbase going forward. They really won't have a choice with that, so it kind of limits what they can do with two pads. But considering the amount of infrastructure they're going to put over in the expansion area, I don't think they're going to want to have to dogleg a booster over every single time.
No.
Plus, you take a performance hit doing that.
Yeah, you use a lot more fuel doing that, and that is a lot more hover time for your boosters to just be sitting out there using fuel that it could have otherwise used to boost its payload further into flight. That's a really good point there. So the prop margins there will be a lot slimmer compared to what would be ideal. Perhaps it may be the next 1.5 to 2 years. What if the sticks over at Pad 1 become ready to use at least? I'm struggling to imagine how that's going to look in my head.
Could be nuts.
Because I honestly hadn't thought about that. I thought they were going to just directly risk it and fly over Pad 1. That's insane. That's genuinely insane.
We need
I'm totally here for it.
We need Ryan Cape. Where's Starship? There it is. Kind of like the Jacqueline.
Where's the booster?
Where's the pad? There it is.
Yeah, kind of like the steering that New Glenn did, but even more dramatic because it actually has to turn, not just...
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be like New Glenn's landing.
Yeah, that kind of cross range, but also add in steering too.
Oh, and it's a much bigger booster.
Yeah, that as well.
Hey, New Glenn is a big booster. It's 8 meters wide, and how tall is that thing again? I forget.
321 feet, I think. 321 or 322 feet.
But either way, super heavy is like 72 meters tall, 9 meters wide, full stainless steel, 33 engines, all that fun jazz. It's going to be nuts to see that thing cancel out its velocity and then walk itself over and catch itself in the arms.
And not to mention probably having to rotate itself as well to make sure that the grid fins are aligned with the sticks as well.
Yeah, which they can just do with the Center 3, or they can line it up. They can have that lined up already coming through the initial landing burn. That's the only way I see them being able to catch a booster on that pad, because you're not catching it off to the side. The ship will come in right over the tower, do a flip burn, and then back itself into the tower and get caught. That's how that'll happen.
Well, listen
we
to
know
the
that.
SPMT as it goes by.
And we might as well listen to the SPMT.
Might as well. We saw some of the engines earlier in the stream if you go back and take a look, but see if you can peek in and see some of those engines that we noticed earlier.
Trying to soak in the fact that this is the first time that we've seen this since October.
See the bells are there.
Yeah. This is the first time that we've seen an actual flight vehicle moving toward the launch site since October of last year.
Yeah,
I'm trying to let that sink in and soak in.
The last flight vehicle that rolled to the launch site was October 11th, 2025, and that was ship 38. The booster that rolled to the pad was rolled out on October 8th.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a while.
Been a long time coming.
You're not kidding. Now it's here. If you go back when it was going slower over by the production site, if you rewind into the stream if you're just joining, we could see that there was some engines underneath booster 19, but it wasn't necessarily evenly distributed. It's not like we saw just the inner 13. We definitely saw 1, 2, 3 for sure, as we now have tracking cam here in the car following the booster. Sorry, not a car, on skate. This is a skateboard cam, I believe, from out in the field. Longboard cam to be specific. But I mean, we saw 1, 2, and 3 for sure, but then we saw 5, then we saw some that looked outer engines. It didn't seem like it was just inner 13 or full rings of engines, except for possibly the center.
Yeah, it's definitely the center 3. A few in the inner ring of 13 and a few in the outer ring. We were talking about that before. It's probably just to test all the different forms of plumbing, because each has a different plumbing setup, plumbing line. Lines 2, and they might as well test them all. I wouldn't be surprised if they also, I wouldn't be surprised if they do multiple static fires, as in they do a landing burn tank static fire, kind of like a header tank static fire they did back in the days, because this is the first time they have a separate header tank on the booster. Well, no, this is the second time they've had it, but the first time they're actually going to use it, because the other booster that had a separate landing tank was booster 5.
Oh my God.
That never got cryoed or used, but it had a Falcon 9 like tank stuck to the side of the tank wall. It never got used, but they basically went back to that. But this is a far more sophisticated one. It's kind of hilarious to watch to see the spider web, because all 13 inner engines are supplied by that landing LOX tank, so anything can fire off of it. So I would not be surprised if they do a separate static fire straight off that landing tank to test the different plumbing, because it's a separate line that goes off the tank compared to the main tank lines. So,
what do you mean? Booster 4 and Ship 20 will be the first Starship to fly.
Oh God.
Don't you mean Mark 1? I know Mark 3 to orbit.
Yeah,
or was it Mark 2 or 3 to orbit? I think it was. Mark 1 was supposed to be 20-kilometer hop. I mean, it's forward dome made it into the air.
Not that far, and it came back down rather quickly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
they had a lift up top with a camera filming that when it blew its top off.
It went for a quick hop and came back.
It flew. Yeah. Anyway, James Atkinson wondering if the bells are sitting below the stand, how will it roll with a full set without the ship sitting on the bells? Are they going to need to extend the stand to protect those engines? What do you think?
So
Ryan?
the ship bells will be inside the ship skirt, so that won't be an issue. They will be all nestled inside the skirt. This one, the bells are just a little bit below it because of the kind of change in design to the aft section of the booster. Basically, this booster doesn't have a dome anymore. It's not a dome. It's a I forget how thick the plate of the steel is, but it's basically a flat plate of steel on the aft of this booster. Just a puck of steel is literally what it is. It's a little bit. I heard it slowed down.
Could also just be moving away from our microphone there.
Yeah, maybe it's just that. But basically, it's a much different design. I think that's why the engines are sticking down a little bit farther than in the past. I know in the past we definitely could see engine covers out. It does not look like this has engine covers on it, and part of the reason for that is because they don't have a way to take them off anymore. They would have to put them on and then just take them off before they lift it, because there is no way to take them off on the pad. There's no work platform that goes under the pad. The scaffolding floor is gone. They have basically bet on the fact of never needing to do anything on the pad again for that. And any work they need to do, they'll just take the booster off the pad and either put it on a work stand, put it on a transport stand and roll it back, or put it on a transport stand and work on it off the pad. That's basically what they're banking on with this design. Which, to be honest, the dance floor and pad 1, they did use it to take engine covers off, but the real big thing they used it for was work on the pad itself, and especially hooking up all the stupid engine chill breakaway lines that they had, which thank Christ that system is gone now, and it's all through the QDs. But that dance floor was more working on the pad itself, and well, in theory, they shouldn't need to do that anymore with this pad because it should be able to tank a launch without any issues at all compared to the last one.
Yeah, it turns out having an actual flame diverter is helpful because, yeah, remember Starship? It's not going to need any kind of diverter or any kind of what's it called, flame trench. No, none of that. It'll be fine. That did not age beyond first flight.
Cough.
I will say this. I'm putting together some a lot of the reasons as to why they built the pad the way they did. But I do want to give a shout out to Zach, CSI Starbase. He's got part 1 released of I think it's a 3-parter of basically as the reasons as to why they've changed the design of the pad, and he's gone through the entire construction process of pad 2. So the foundation, water deluge systems, he's going through the whole shebang. It is truly impressive to see how far SpaceX has come in launch pad design, because Falcon 9 is relatively simple for pad design. It's not that powerful of a rocket compared to this. This is the most powerful rocket humanity's ever built.
Well, nothing is, Ryan, but by comparison, even the Saturn V.
Yeah, and it's kind of, it basically, this new pad design goes to show the lessons learned, and okay, this is what we have to make to be able to quickly reuse launch infrastructure with the most powerful rocket ever made. So yeah, you should definitely check out his videos there. He's got part 1 out. I don't remember. I think part 2 is supposed to be next week, maybe. I don't know if we'll see when he's got it ready, but he definitely puts a lot of time in those episodes. It's like I think it's like it'll be like 3+ hours between all 3 parts or something like that. It's kind of nuts, all the in-depth he went into it, but it's awesome.
It's also about how long we've been waiting for this thing to actually start rolling tonight. Because, yeah, you talked about there's no engine covers on it, but one thing that they did end up covering that was interesting as we were watching over on Starbase Live, the 24/7 feeds that we have, they were putting red tape over the QDs on the base of the booster there. Any idea why they might be doing that? A, and B, why they waited until into the middle of the road closure to start doing it, Max?
I mean, whatever you can do to keep FOD out, right, or foreign object debris. Tape is among the easiest ways to do that. And as for why they either waited to add it or to add some more on to what was already on there for protection, I don't know. I mean, timelines to get this thing out of Megabay 1 were probably crunched a little bit to make sure that it got out on time. So maybe they just didn't have time for it inside. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. But it's essentially whatever they can do to try and keep FOD out of the actual plates there, to keep any dirt or pebbles or just dust out of the connections and keep the tanks as clean as possible, because they cannot afford to have any sort of FOD ruining their time there. And look at this. Is this from Gage?
I think this is Gage's walking camera, yes. Oh, no, this is Caesar. That was also seems like from, Caesar walking alongside it.
Okay.
There.
Yeah, you could just see how a couple of engine bells there were hanging a bit lower than some others, and that was a good demonstration of just how the engines are oriented this time around compared to versions 1 and version 2. Dude, good God, I cannot wait until the sun comes up and we can get a much better look at it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hopefully it makes it there on the quicker side, because it is now... Yeah. 48 minutes past the end of the original roll window for road closures here, for going from the production site over to Pad 2. But I guess that's the other question people are asking is, when do we expect the lift? Do we expect to see a lift today? And, I mean, Ryan, I would hope we get to see it today.
I mean, I hope we get to see it today, and I hope it's during the day with light out, so every photographer in the world that's down there can take every picture possible of that aft when it's exposed. That sounds weird, but you know,
we knew what you meant.
I want to see the engines. I want to see the aft of that booster a ton. I don't know how long when they'll lift it. Remember, all these sticks have done is some exercises. They've done the load testing, and that's it. They've never lifted a vehicle before. They've never placed a vehicle on this pad before. They've never lifted a vehicle from the grid fins before. So these are new sockets. It's a new booster. It's a new way of lifting it. It's new sticks. It's a new pad. So they may lift it tomorrow. They may lift it during the day today. They may not. It depends on when SpaceX is ready to do it. I will go with that. They do have the closure is for tomorrow, so that kind of tells me that they want to have it on the pad today so they can hook everything up. I would not be surprised if they don't use the closure for the 9th or even for the 10th. I honestly wouldn't be that surprised if they don't, because one of the things we saw them doing when they were getting it ready in the ring yard is they had a bunch of sensors hooked up. I think they got a temp sensor on both of the autogen autonomous pressurization lines. They've got sensors hooked up to multiple different areas across this vehicle. So they're going to have to hook all that up. So they have to hook all the sensors up. They have to hook the QDs up. They have to check things out. I would not be surprised if they don't use that closure right away, or if they don't even use the closure on the 10th. They'll go at their own pace, especially with all this new hardware, all this new stuff. They're not going to want to do it wrong. I would say this: the last time they stacked the vehicle real quick and then they spent 2 weeks and got it right out, it didn't go well. They lost Booster 18. I think they learned that lesson hard, and they're not rushing anymore. Not to say that was rushing, but that may have taught them a few lessons. So I think they'll take their time, but we'll see if it gets lifted today or not. It may not.
Only way to find out is to stay tuned and keep an eye out over on Starbase Live, our 24/7 cameras right here on NSF. as we continue to watch it rolling down the road, taking your booster V3 on a walk out to the pad, let me thank some people here real quickly. ODST Moody saying, I'm once again making my way to the pad with my bountiful quantity of Dr. Pepper to quench this booster's thirst, the finest of cryogenic propellants. Only issue is it's very caustic. Ask my esophagus how I know that. And Telstar86 asking, will the new patch launch when they stack? Once we get a full stack, you know how it is. It's we say it when we mean it. So once we get that full stack, hopefully we'll be able to display for flight. We'll be able to display the patch for this upcoming flight. Chris Bergen was leaking a little bit in chat that we have the design. It's ready to go. Just kind of need SpaceX to do its thing. So at this point, a reminder, we have Booster 19 rolling. Ship 39 is also doing its thing, too. Heading on its way over from Masseys back to the production site. That one, in theory, should take less time, or more time to roll back than this. But it's SPMTs and SpaceX and Highway 4, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's not on Highway 4 yet. It's still going down Massey's way. So once it hits Highway 4, it's still at least another 2 hours. So at this rate, it won't be at the back of the production site till 7 in the morning, which is absolutely great for the morning commute. All the shift change at 6 in the morning is going to get stuck behind a ship coming back. So nice.
I mean, I was kind of talking about this, but yeah. Is the booster not on Highway 4 yet?
It is. Booster
right,
is. Ship is.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of talking more about this one, but still.
My brain is gone, Sawyer. It's late.
You're on what time zone, Central?
I'm only an hour behind you.
And it's also daylight saving time, so that kind of messes with things already. Yeah. It is almost 6 a.m. Eastern time here where we are, coming up on 5 a.m. Central time for a road closure that was supposed to end an hour ago. So, yeah, take that as you will with our levels of exhaustion here. I know we got people over in the UK that are waking up now, having their coffee, and getting to see a booster roll. Oh, look at the sidewalk cam. I love that low angle. And then people in the US who are maybe coming back from the bars or having those night owls, or I guess technically early morning people now as well, getting up at like 6 a.m. So getting all the people in here. Let's see. Getting to some more questions here. OnQuack is asking, what's the difference in roll time between Pad 1 and Pad 2? Is there really, Max, much of a difference in distance between those two pads?
I mean, if anything, I think the roll for Pad 2 might take a little less time, or maybe a bit more, because I think they oh my gosh, I think they have to use the same access points into the launch site as they did for Pad 1, so maybe a little bit longer because it has to snake around some of the tank farm over there, more so than what they used to. But I imagine roughly it's going to be the same, and obviously the more they do this, the more of a routine that they can get into and figure out what routes do and don't work, and obviously over time it'll become a much faster process. But right now it's all about learning about what way to get there as quick as possible, but also as safe as possible to ensure, and also as efficient as possible, just for the sake of alignment and making sure that the chopsticks can grab onto it at just the right angle, make sure that the alignment's all good. So I don't think there will be, once they're up and running, I think there won't be much of a time difference. But I think for tonight, or maybe the first even couple rolls of a booster heading to Pad 2, they're going to take their sweet time for sure. And here's a great angle or great overlay on the left-hand side of your screen.
That's so outdated. It's not even. That's not.
Yeah.
Even
So the access point
remotely.
I think that it has to use is actually right on the road, right across from the white horizontal tanks there. I think that's where it has to come in from over there. No.
So the access point that's coming into that little landmark there. Nope, that does not exist anymore, Carson. That if Google Maps is like it's like 20 years out of date, I swear to God.
Wait,
They
they
never
had
update their
Starship
thing.
pads out there 20 years ago?
That is literally that's you see the suborbital pad still there? Like that's how old that is. That's like over 2 years old. No, there's a new entrance point right across from that like historical monument there. That is the new D1 gate, so the new gate into the launch site. And then they go straight past the Pad 2 tower, and then they turn into the sticks, and they're done. They're there. That's all they got to do. The entrance that they used to go into that is near the new pumps for Pad 2, that is for trucks only now. The vehicle can't even fit through there. The entrance is way down are all construction stuff now off the roundabout and near the old tank farm setup. That's all construction for Pad 1 stuff now. There's one entrance for vehicles, and it'll likely be and it'll just kind of come in and snake around and go. Yeah, it doesn't have far to go. It'll be a little bit quicker than Pad 1. But the maneuver to line up with the sticks is going to be an interesting one because the orientation of the booster on the transport stand. So
interesting indeed. Something we'll get to see for the first time. Again, all of this the first time that we're actually seeing the booster roll out to this pad. The first booster V3, the first booster to have Raptor 3s on it, first one to have the new grid fins on it. All of these firsts that we're mostly seeing here when the fog likes to cooperate. By the way, before we go on, I have to thank Mike Alpha Tango Sierra, with a 50 Red Team membership drop there. I was trying to read through chat, and all I could see was so-and-so received a gift of membership. So, Mats, thank you so very much for doing that. If you did get one of those, definitely make sure to give them a huge thank you. So we appreciate it. Hats off to Mats, as the command goes, I believe. Here's a really unique question. And I mean, this one kind of has Ryan written all over it. Tushal is asking, you talk about engines, grid fins, pipes. What about the batteries, the flight computers, and all? Where do they hide these hardwares?
they are in the chines on booster. So they used to they did hold the batteries inside the chines in the last block, and I'm pretty sure they hold the flight computers in there as well. But there's no more interstage area. And the aft of the booster is now mostly open area with the as we literally saw, there's basically metallic tiles, and then all the wiring runs in through the aft and then up through into all the outer manifolds there, which are data, power, igniter gases, spin-up gases, autogen gases. Basically everything you need to run all the engines and pressurize the tanks is all there. And it hooks into, there's a port for every single engine and all that stuff. And then all the COPVs, which the Block 3 boosters have about like 150% more COPVs than the Block 2 boosters do, because not only do they have longer chines than the Block 2 boosters, they also got rid of the CO2 tanks. So the CO2 tanks are now replaced with COPVs. So extra spin-up gases, purge gases, igniter gases, all that stuff, as well as more room for batteries, flight computers, engine controllers, all that other stuff. So it's stuck inside the chines and everything, and that's kind of where all that is. It's a nice, efficient design, and I actually kind of people always think this is weird. I do like all the stuff on the outside. It's kind of nice. The manifold system is beautiful. The way they have that all connected in. Each one of those boxes is basically an engine. Is right over a couple of where the engine ports are. And there are a couple of separate boxes that are just mainly for manifolds that combine a lot of the systems together. So it's all connected in that area and whatnot.
Oh, that was so cool seeing the rendering. I can't wait till we see the real thing. Oh, wait, there it is on your screen. I love that. It's real. It's finally real. So I guess the question also is, obviously we're seeing it roll. We're going to see it out at the pad. We're going to see some testing. Everyone wants to see the static fire. We all want to see it. Noah's wondering if you think we will get a booster static fire by the end of the month. Max, what do you think?
Oh, by the end of the month, 100%. They kind of have to if they want to fly in April at all, you know. um, in terms of, so obviously as we've seen, there is nowhere near all the engines installed on the aft end of the booster, but that does not rule out the possibility of conducting smaller static fire tests of individual engines or smaller groups of engines together as they are now. But they first have to get through tanking tests and others as well to make sure that both the vehicle and the actual ground systems are happy talking to each other. So depends. It all depends on how that first phase goes that I just mentioned. But for sure, they should have both phases done by the end of the month for sure. At least with as it is now, and then obviously they will have to roll it back to install the rest of the Raptor 3 engines before coming back to the launch pad and firing with all 33. So yeah, they kind of have to.
I mean, there's a lot of things that they have to do.
Yeah. I'm looking at timelines myself here. So, I have this here we go. I think this booster is going to be out of the pad for at least a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. So this entire week is probably going to be dedicated to tanking tests, pressurization, fit checks, all that other fun stuff. So that takes us through to the 16th or whatever, and then you have the static fires and spin primes in that week. So that's 2 weeks out. Now you're at the 20th of March. Do you say maybe if you even want to go early April, you're kind of pushing it because as we see, they don't have all the engines installed. So they got to then roll back, install all the other engines, and then roll this back out again for more static fire testing, and then likely roll it back again for final post-static fire, whatever they got to do, get the FTS installed, and then get it out to the pad. At that point, you're into the first week of April. And you're back in the bay getting all your other stuff done. Now, S-39 is rolling back from cryo. Based off SpaceX's tweet, it's likely they aren't going to thrust sim this one, which I think is an oversight. But they may still thrust sim it. I'm not going to say they won't until they straight up don't do it. So if they're not going to do it, that means it's going to get engines and roll out static fire. I don't know how if booster is any indication, and there's still a decent amount of stuff to do with that ship. I wouldn't be surprised if ship isn't ready to static fire until the first week of April. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes another month in that bay. So, all right, that rolls out, gets static fired. If you don't have any issues with any of these static fires or any of this testing, you're into the second week of April. You're into basically April 13th territory here. Well, now you got to stack both vehicles and test them stacked together, which who knows how many. The hope is that the wet dress rehearsal goes fine, or you do a tanking test, wet dress rehearsal. So that takes you to maybe the 20th of April, maybe the 24th of April or whatever, depending on how long all that takes. All right, you're into the literal last week of April at that point. You need to have the license signed off because I'm pretty sure they need to have a launch license modification for this. I wouldn't be that surprised if they need to have that. I think we should probably ask, honestly, see if they do. Although usually the FAA gives us non-answers, but, can't hurt to ask. You're the last week of April, and that's assuming nothing goes wrong, in my book. Now, that also doesn't include the fact that they are building a new test tank for booster to test the grid fins and can crush the hot stage in. So that's that. They're building a new test tank to do that. They still have to do that. They have to modify the stand. If you're SpaceX, do you launch this flight without testing the new grid fin sockets in a test tank? I don't. Because if you lose the booster on glide back in, that could trigger a mishap investigation. You don't really want that. So I think I would wait to test that. That could take a couple of more weeks or more. because with how long they've tested the test tanks on it, that could push it very easily into May. You're getting way into May at this point, if you have to wait on that. And then any modifications if you come into problems. Then there's 39.1, which still needs to get can crushed as well. Plus, it's going to have its flap hinges tested as well. That needs to go on the OG can crusher, get set up, and get can crushed. And the hope is you don't find any issues there. If everything goes perfect, no issues whatsoever, maybe end of April. Maybe. But as we know with new things, at this point, considering seeing the new test tank stuff they're going to have to do, I think May at this point. But that's me. There's my spiel. There you go.
I'm sorry, I fell asleep. Are we still alive? We're still
alive. That was a spiel.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm kidding. But long story short, you think it's still possible, but more likely May. I mean, I really think they're going to be able to make it by April. And also, you say, would SpaceX do that? Yes. If any company would do that, SpaceX absolutely would. They're the ones who'd say, we'll test it in flight. I mean, we have an entire video talking about the different tests that they actually do, the different ways that they test, the iterative design versus, doing everything on the ground and, taking more time and doing that, kind of like we see with SLS and like we saw with New Glenn. If you haven't checked out the video here on the YouTube channel at NSF, you should definitely go check that out. Maybe subscribe or like while you're at it, because those also help us out and they're free. If you hit subscribe or hit the like button, lets other people know our stuff is cool. But if you haven't checked out that iterative design video, 100% recommended. It's a really good one.
They're the three bells of the three centers, which are spaced out 108 by 108 by 144. That's what that should be.
108 by 108 by 144. I don't know. I can't do quick math. What is that? 5 by 5?
Sure.
10-4.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Okay, copy that.
Anyway, don't kill me again. It will happen.
Okay, copy that.
My chest apparently is not well right now. Bideford coming to save the day here with a $25 super chat saying, I'm starting to get excited and believe there's still a chance for Flight 12 before the end of April 20th. I still think 420 is possible. I'm just going to say it.
I would like to think so as well. But again, weirder things have happened, and they still have a lot to get out of the way, and they could find some stuff that could add some more delays to the current timeline. Ryan, I swear to God, if this is one more spiel.
No. I think I only see two centers, but I definitely see a bell for one of the inner 13, too. For one of the inner 10. I think there's only two centers on this thing.
Yeah, I think. I mean, maybe,
Sorry,
but also at the same time, those are all sitting at the same level. I figured the inner three would be sitting at the lowest point than the ring of 10, and then the outer 20 sitting the highest of all the engines.
Yeah, because it's like a slight cone. So the outer 20 is a flat plate that goes around. Then as you go in from the inner 10 to the inner 3, it's a slight cone that goes down to a tip. In the center of the aft plate is basically how that aft is designed. I only see two bells sticking down really, really far, which tells me I think there's only two centers. And then I saw one bell that's sticking not as far down. And I think that's one of the inner 10. So I don't know how many more engines there are, but from what I could tell, I think that's only 3 engines right there. But it's hard to tell. There's probably definitely more. I think there's maybe only like 10 engines in this thing or less, but we'll see.
Okay, copy that.
Dang it, Max.
10-4.
10-4, solid copy.
We are on the air, so I cannot say the things that we were discussing before we went live, but just to know some of those phrases.
Also worth noting here, chaps, we are getting very close to the launch site here.
Yes, we are. Oh, finally, it's getting exciting. It's getting good. But yeah, it looked like I saw a number 3 earlier, unless it was 13, but We'll have to see.
I
Again,
mean,
like you pointed out, the easiest way to see the engine numbers is once it lifts.
Exactly right. And hopefully we will find out later today, if not tomorrow. But hopefully today.
Yeah. One way or the other, even if it lifts at night, it's going to be relatively obvious how many engines are on this thing. I just want it being during the day because daylight's better to see stuff.
It's a lot easier on cameras for everyone.
Yeah, how about it doesn't lift at night and it does it during the daytime? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about let's do that. Yeah. Okay, copy that.
10-4.
Oh my
Just wait until we
God.
go off the air. Both of you are in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. No, Dad's calling.
Poor Chris Bergen's ears would not be able to
looks like
tolerate the
there's,
words that are about to come out of my mouth afterwards.
Looks like they've got some spotlights set up, staring at the pad.
I hope
Yes.
so.
At the tower and whatnot.
And we did see earlier the chopsticks, right as they started moving, did lift up a little bit. And I believe Caesar was pointing out earlier that they could hear the chopsticks.
Yeah,
Gage
Gage said about 15 minutes ago or so that he heard the actual chopstick motors turn on.
They're the sticks are currently sitting on their stop at the bottom of the tower, so they're not up right now. You can see them; they're all the way down. But yeah, the booster's turning into the launch site right now, and then it's got a straight shot to the pad there.
And yeah, by the way, this look is going to, on top of this being a brand new booster and a brand new launch mount, they're going to be lifting this thing with shorter chopsticks than what we're used to from Pad 1, which is also going to look maybe somewhat cursed. Big question mark there.
It's going to look weird. It's the first time they're lifting anything with the short sticks.
Yeah.
And it's going to be from the grid fins, too. It's going to look
oh my God,
weird.
and from the grid fins. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Grid fins are fitted with the. I was kind of curious if it was built into the grid fin or not, but it looks like they can build any grid fins they want, and the lifting pin is an addition they can just add to the grid fin to any grid fins that they need it. So is what it looks like, because the two two opposite grid fins have the lifting points, and then that third one that acts kind of like a rudder doesn't have one installed in it. So that kind of answers that question.
Yeah, that is going to be quite the sight to see. And those wheels are not moving at the moment, are they?
Yeah, they are. Just very slowly.
Slowly? Is it? Oh, yeah, there it goes. Just saw the person squatting down next to it. Wasn't sure if they were checking something.
Don't want to get stuck in mud like they have before.
That's what I was worried about at first there. They had to wiggle it out a couple times.
You know, what's funny looking back at some of the footage of the aft, some of the testing hardware that they had attached to the aft section, which was used for, which were basically plates for the thrust rams to push up against. Some of them are still installed. Like they didn't even remove the puck shucking hardware off of some of those engine mounts. So
that's interesting.
They were kind of focused on getting some engines installed and something. So yeah, it was in there for a month, but they didn't even remove all the testing hardware. So there's still even stuff they got to remove before they finish installing the rest of the engines.
That is true.
Mean, maybe it just wasn't critical for the testing ahead of Pad 2 here, but obviously those had to be well out of the way to get the rest of the engines installed.
Yeah, because they're blocking the main inlets, the main locks and methane inlets.
Okay, copy that.
And also, like we were talking about earlier, you're going to throw me off my game. I totally forgot. We were talking about earlier, they don't have the dance floor really anymore. There's not as much a way to get under there and do anything with the engines. So we don't have the engine booties on them because they can't really get the booties off once they get to the pad this way. And they're not going to be installing any engines out at Pad 2, right?
No. Not as far as we can see. Obviously, with the lack of work platform like that, they can't. They have a lot of access inside of the launch mount itself, but that is nowhere near enough. Let alone in the correct position to either remove or install engines. That all has to be done currently inside of Megabay 2.
one.
One, sorry, geez Louise, sorry.
Yeah, they
Yes.
haven't installed an engine on a booster at the pad since like booster 7.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Or maybe they did one on 9. I don't remember, but it's been a long time. They stopped doing it once they stopped doing it after a while. If they need to do any work on the aft, they can always take the booster off the pad, set it on this transport stand, kind of do some stuff in, and then put it back on if they have to. It doesn't take that long to do.
True.
Turning into the launch site here. Holy cow.
It's real.
It's
finally real.
Booster's back.
Back again. Booster's back.
He's back.
Tell a friend.
Tell your friends.
Back again.
Copyright.
Okay, copy that.
10-4.
You sons of guns.
We're going to keep doing it.
I know you are. But what am I? Anyway.
Chop liver.
Boy, am I chop liver. Anyway. Big server with Hammer asking, anyone from NSF going to be at Yuri's Night Space Coast? I've not seen an announcement for Yuri's Night Space Coast, just the one out at the Griffith Observatory in LA. Have you seen one, Max, about an East Coast one?
No, actually, I have not, but also I haven't been looking. I have been terribly busy otherwise and haven't, it actually hasn't crossed my mind until now. I went, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago was the last one I went to. It's a wonderful time. It's usually held over here at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex where a space shuttle Atlantis is. If there's info on it, please, like somebody tell me or like send me a link or something. I would love to go. But I have not looked. I don't think we've had one here in a couple of years. I could be wrong though.
Right, there was a different one last year that wasn't necessarily Yuri's Night, and then the year before was the Eclipse. So 2023, I believe, was the last one. I know I was there for that one. But yeah, if there is this one this year, I absolutely will go as well.
Would love to go. Yes.
And Noah coming in with the, I believe this is the Yen saying, let's go Booster 19.
Hey, firm on that.
Copy that?
It's okay, copy that.
Oh, it has to specifically be okay.
It has to specifically be okay. Look at the engine bells.
Speaking of
ADD, sorry.
Totally not distracting
at
all.
I see at least 2. I think I only see 2. Yeah, I think there's only 2 centers.
So the other one then is one of the inner 13, or?
Yeah, I think one of the bells that's higher up is one of the inner 13. One of the inner 10, in a ring of 10, I should say. I don't think they have all 3 centers in there. Because if they had all 3 centers from this view, you should see another bell. There should definitely be another bell visible. And it doesn't look like there is. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great view looking straight down between the SPMTs.
Good Lord, these daytime images are going to slap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, Booster, yes.
That's just wrong. What am I doing?
Okay, copy that.
It's late night / early morning. We're more night people here, the ones that are on stream currently with NSF. It hasn't shifted to the morning crew yet, so we're still the late night ones kind of held over.
Wheel spin developing there?
Are they spinning the wheels here?
Yeah.
Do a burnout!
Yeah. Some of the wheels aren't even on the ground here. What? They're trying to adjust for the level. These are a little bit longer SPMTs than they normally use for this. They usually use 16 axles for these, or 18s. They're currently using 22 axle SPMTs. I think it's part of the new transport setup they're doing. So yeah, they're having to adjust SPMT axles because the ones up front, I mean, of course, not everything is always level, so they have to adjust the heights of the axles. So yeah, that was kind of fun to watch.
Which is really cool because obviously it isn't a level surface getting from Highway 4 up to the launch site. You're going up a bit of an incline, and it's also not perfectly level getting in from Highway 4 into the production site either. So these SPMTs are having to compensate to keep the booster as level as possible, similar in a way to how the crawler transporters here at the Kennedy Space Center also keep themselves level going up the ramp towards LC-39A and now just pad 39B now for SLS. So that way the rocket doesn't come at an angle and risk toppling over. You don't want that, obviously. So to keep it level, they have a way to actually compensate and level themselves, which is really cool. Just SPMTs are a lot quicker and a lot newer than those big old crawler transporters, though.
That is very, very true. So I guess we'll see these going forward. The 22, are they still using the 16s end for the ship?
Yeah, they've been using 16 axles for the ship. There should be a pair of 16 axle SPMTs running the moving the ship back right now.
Engine bells with light on them.
So, yeah, you can see the two lower nozzles, and then you can see one that's that's not as low. You see that one there?
Yep.
That's one of the inner ring of 10 there. So the outer 21 should be up and tucked under the fully tucked under the transport stand. So
we wouldn't see those hanging lower then?
No, you shouldn't see those hanging down.
Yeah, that was only earlier when we kind of peeked inside the little gaps in the transport stand. This is what a view.
This is so
all
cool.
Black nozzles. There you go.
So now, someone asking which would win in a race, transporter or crawler. SPMTs, I think.
SPMT is no question.
Yeah,
this goes
that'll win that race.
3 to 5-ish miles an hour, and the fastest that the crawler can go is a little over 2, and that's completely empty.
Yep. And I think with SLS on top, I think its top speed is like 0.75 or 0.8 miles an hour.
Yeah, the crawler takes 8 to 12 hours to do the 3-mile rollback, 3+ mile rollback. The SPMTs going from Roberts Road to 39A would probably take it'd still probably be like a 6-hour run to take a vehicle there, but that's a significantly longer distance.
You think so? I think it'll take like 3 to 4 at most.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Because that's a long
ride.
time to obstruct traffic here.
That's what how many miles is that?
So from here at the press site to pad 39A, it's about 3.5 miles. Roberts Road is maybe about 1.5 miles farther, so that's about I guess run up to about 5.5 miles in total.
So about 5 hours ish, maybe 4 to 5 hours.
And this is about a 2-mile run total when you go from Remedios to the launch site, and it takes an hour. So I guess it shouldn't take that long. Going to 37 will take a bit though.
The roads here are also in much better shape. It has to be said.
Oh yeah, that
and
is
also
true.
much wider as well. They have a lot more lanes to use.
They're also even widening the road that goes up to 39A. That was a project that they were doing for about a year. Made setting up remotes at the crawlaway impossible for a while, but
you say widening, they've already been widened. That's all done.
That Saturn Causeway is all widened and everything now.
Yep, they have that one bit of extension on the southern side, or the eastbound side of the road of the causeway here. It's really cool. Doesn't seem like much, but for these big SPMTs and these big vehicles, every bit of space counts.
Yeah, I know as part of
eastbound side. I'm sorry, it's the eastbound direction, but the southern part of the road.
Yep.
I know that a part of the Slick 37 EIS was to also build up the road coming from 39A to 37s for transports as well.
That's a lot longer of a road.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot longer of a road. Oh, hi ship. Jump scare.
Yeah, ship 39 still going, by the way.
It's going to be going for a while.
Yeah, that started rolling about an hour-ish ago. So it still has at least another 1.5 hours plus to make it back to the production site after all of the testing that they've been doing over at Masseys.
It's chugging along, though. It's going pretty quick.
It is.
Yeah. By the way, if you haven't seen the testing that's going on out there, of course, we have all of our Starship updates that we do on Mondays. And then, of course, we have the little summary videos that come out a couple times throughout the week. I believe the next one is set to come out tomorrow. with some of the footage from tonight. So you should definitely make sure you're subscribed and check those out if you haven't seen it. And go back and take a look at some of the actual pressure testing that they've been doing over at Masseys with 39. Let's see here. Have you ever seen a vehicle do a burnout while carrying a 22-story skyscraper? Now you have.
now. You have now.
So while we're... Go ahead, what were you going to say,
I
Ryan?
was saying, this is gonna pass the tower here. So, in fact, if you see that there's some fencing off to the side there, that orange or red fencing off to the side, and what looks like a nice big gray structure right there. That's the new roof for pad 2. It is an entirely new roof with all cladding and everything that's going to be lifted by that big crane. So that's getting built off to the side. There's still a lot more work that has to get done on that, but it's kind of paused at this point. So the booster is now going to come around here, and then it's going to turn, and then it's going to kind of go into the sticks at a kind of like a 45-degree angle, and then they're going to have to like moonwalk it in slightly. Kind of.
Moonwalk it in.
Yeah. If you want to call it that, like slide shuffle the thing into the sticks.
Slide to the left.
Slide to the right. I don't know
Copyright infringement.
I wasn't going to finish that. But,
anyway.
yeah, they got to turn it, line it up, get it into the sticks. We will see when the sticks lift up. I think they're going to want to try to line it up first before they really get the sticks, because they basically left the sticks nice, wide and open, so they can the booster can line up with it. And then once that's all said and done, they'll go ahead and take the weight, try to lift it. As they said, we don't know when they'll lift. They'll try when they can, basically. So yeah, it looks like they've set it up to where they can kind of walk the booster to the side, and then adjust the SPMTs, because basically the two opposing grid fins have to line up with the sticks is what has to happen here. And the QDs, which you can see where the hatches and the QDs, those have to face towards those have to face like outwards and whatnot, and that's kind of how it has to all line up. So the extra grid fin faces out and away from the tower. So kind of in the orientation it is now. So it'll kind of have to turn and just kind of line up. It's going to be a kind of interesting maneuver how they're going to do it, but it'll probably take a while for this to all line up. So it's probably going to be a bit before it's in between the sticks, but who knows?
That is true. We'll have to wait and see. Again, this is the first for all of us, so we're all kind of going through it together. Let me thank some people here. Detlef getting a bunch of items from the shop at shop.nasaspaceflight.com, saying, as always, doing a good job, guys. Awaiting next launch, end of March. I know that was what Elon was saying was about 4 weeks, but that was March 7th. 4 weeks puts us in April. So right?
I'll just say this. At the end of January, he said 6 weeks. We are 6 weeks from that point. Yeah, I'll just say that.
But still,
my God, Ryan, there it goes. It's going right now.
The most recent X post, though, said what, 4 weeks from yesterday? So even so, that
Correct.
Still puts us in April. But awesome print choices. Benuberry saying, I'm just now joining, and I'm sure this has been discussed, but how accurate is... Oh, this is appropriate. How accurate is Elon's about 4 weeks? Yes, I know Elon time, but this would put it in April. Basically, what's the launch estimate?
It's accurate-ish. It's certainly more accurate than the last statement 6 weeks ago. So, I mean, April could certainly still be on the table for launch operations, but it all depends on how this upcoming week goes first, with the first couple of rounds of crowd testing at the pad, and then moving on to how both static fire campaigns go. So April could be on the table. It might not be, but that's why we're saying accurate-ish.
Yeah, most of the time with Elon time, you can usually make it time and a half. So when he
You know
said
what?
6 weeks, it would have been 12.
You know what though? Honestly, I genuinely hate to admit this, but the more this stream goes on, and the more I think about and ruminate what Ryan said earlier, the more I'm thinking that either a mid to late April window makes a lot more sense, if not May. But anything to deconflict Artemis 2 and Flight 12 would be great. Maybe that's just a cognitive bias there. I don't know.
Which, someone was asking, which is first, Artemis 2 or Starship Flight 12? I'm hoping that it would be Artemis 2.
The answer is yes.
I believe Fawad, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is saying, good morning from the UK. Can you please re-explain exactly what kind of testing is needed on Pad 2 that could not be done at Masseys? And Max, Ship 39 testing can be done out at Masseys, but you can't test the boosters out there.
I mean, you can, but only for cryo. They cannot static fire the boosters over there. One, they don't have the room, and two, even if they did somehow manage to build some sort of contraption over there to hold the booster with engines, the exhaust, it's way too powerful to fire in an area as small and confined as Masseys, which is why it makes the most sense to actually conduct static fire testing at the actual launch pad itself. So they still have to do a few rounds of cryo with the booster here, but that moving forward with version 3 and then version 4 in a couple of years, likely, cryo testing at the pad should not need to be a regular thing. But they will have to static fire the booster at the pad every time. But they do have the ability to both cryo and static fire the ship over at Masseys because 6 Raptors compared to 33, it's a lot less thrust to contain, and the current flame trench flame trench that they have over there can withstand up to about, I think, a 60-second burn at a time, if not longer now, with the upgrades that they have had in the time since Ship 36. So booster is unique. It's a beast. It is a lot of power to contain in a small area like Masseys, so it just makes the most sense to have it fired over at the pad.
And you test out all the systems too while you're at it, especially since they're brand new. Maddie Davies saying, can we get an in any event counter? I mean, if you're drinking water, I guess that's a good thing every time it was said, because they need to be hydrated. But only water.
Okay, copy that.
In any event, it looks like they are going to be in this spot for a little bit, so it might take them a little while to get everything set up, positioned in the chopsticks, and then, of course, we don't know exactly when the roll is going to happen. So I think the best thing... Lift. It's late, okay? In case you can't tell. Max and I are on the East Coast where it's 6:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's 5:30 a.m. Central Daylight over in Starbase there. It's getting late/early for us. So I think the best thing to do is going to head on over to Starbase Live to continue to watch the rest of this action. And we will automatically redirect you over there as soon as the stream ends. But I do want to thank Max joining me on commentary. Thank you.
Hey guys, a super heavy booster is back at the launch pad for the first time in 6 months. This has been such a long time coming. We are super happy to see it, and we cannot wait for the sun to come up and get better views of the booster at the pad, which of course you can also see on Starbase Live and from our team on the ground there as well. Caesar, Colleen, and Gage. Cannot wait. This has been a huge pleasure, and this is just the beginning.
Only the beginning. I love it as we see that glowing light behind it, basking it. It's gorgeous. Ryan, thank you as well for joining us.
It's a pleasure as always, Sawyer. Yeah. It'll probably just be initial testing right off the bat. Hopefully a static fire, maybe not this upcoming week, but the next one. But I cannot wait to see this thing get lifted and even just start to get tested. It's
what is
gonna
that
be so
info
cool.
card?
I like the card.
What is that info card? Optimus?
Question mark.
Yeah,
Question mark.
it's been like that for a bit. I think Jay did it. It was either Jay or
from a
Kevin
flame
that did it. I
trench,
don't remember. It was just from a while ago.
Okay, copy
Jay
that.
did it. Jay did it. 10-4. But I cannot wait to see this thing on the pad, get frosty, see how quick they can load it, because the one thing we didn't talk about in this thing is that when it comes down to the static fire, they might be able to load this thing in like 20-30 minutes.
Oh God, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
This should be a much quicker load time once they nail it down. because of the more pumps, bigger lines. We didn't even talk about that part. So I cannot wait to cover that. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, a lot of interesting stuff coming up. So yeah, stay tuned.
That's definitely something we'll talk about when we get to those testing and static fire streams, which we will be doing. I can promise you that. And then Carson's been the one pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, producing the stream. So thank you, Carson. As always, mentioned there, just on the corner, keep up with us on the socials to see all the photos and videos and things coming out from the roll tonight. And of course, once it lifts, and we'll send you over to Space Coast Live to keep watching as they get it closer to the pad, and then see what they do in terms of when they decide to lift it with the road or the beach closure set for Monday. I'm Zoe Rosenstein. I've been your host for this evening/morning's roll to Pad 2. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect world.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation. 343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.